Hi, everybody. My name is Laurie White, and I'm the president of the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce in Rhode Island. And I'm really excited and pleased to be able to partner with JA and the whole team there to talk about careers and highlighting various business leaders and speakers in the community who can give us a little bit of a snapshot about how they got started in their own profession, some of the skills and the learnings along the way, and ways that each of us can, figure out how we might want to pursue a career in a certain field and test drive it and build up some mentors and a whole support network to be able to take the next step as part of the career progression. And today we're really excited to have the managing partner of the accounting firm KPMG with us today, Don Zambarano. How are you, Don? It's great to see you.
I'm wonderful. Thanks, you, Laurie.
Fantastic. So, the folks at Junior Achievement have highlighted you as an example of career success. So, for our conversation today, if we could talk a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis, what does a managing partner do at KPMG? And then maybe we could talk a little bit more about some of the skills that you needed to develop along the way to ascend the corporate ladder. So let's just start with a little bit about KPMG and what do you do as managing partner?
Sure. Thank you, Laurie. And first off, let me thank Junior Achievement for hosting these great events, and Laurie, for you taking the time to hold the discussion. I think these are great events, and I'm both honored and humbled to be part of them. So I want to thank you. Again, my name is Don Zambarano. I'm a partner with KPMG. I grew up in Rhode Island. I grew up in North Providence, Rhode Island, and now reside in Lincoln. I'm a partner with KPMG, which is one of the world's leading professional services organizations. We provide audit, tax, and consulting services. Essentially, we help solve complex business problems. A little bit more about KPMG. We have over 100 offices and 30,000 employees within the U.S. And globally, we have over 200,000 employees or professionals in over 150 countries, and our global revenue exceeds $30 billion. So it's a large professional services organization. I'm a partner within our deal advisory and strategy practice, where we help companies acquire and sell businesses. If you think about it from a layman's perspective, if you think about when you buy a home, you often hire someone to come in and do an inspection of that home, right? Look at the roof, look at the ceiling, look at the pipes, look at the plumbing, and really understand if there's any problems with that home, and ultimately what the value of that home would be. What we do in the deal advisory practice, what I do is help companies acquire other businesses and really help them analyze those businesses, get behind the numbers, understand the risks and opportunities with the investments, and ultimately acquire that company and integrate it within its own business. So that's a little bit of background. I also assumed, Laurie, as you mentioned, the office managing partner role in Providence effective March 1st, and succeed a long line of great leaders in the Providence office. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And my role there is a little bit different, where I work with the community, folks like Junior Achievement, like you, Laurie, hopefully more often in the future. We get to know each other a bit better. And that's a real interest to me. I've spent most of my life and career in mergers and acquisitions, which has taken me outside of the state of Rhode Island. So this other role, which I do in addition to the partner role, allows me to be back into the community and working more closely with the community members, community leaders, and also business leaders in the state of Rhode Island.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that overview, Don. That was fabulous, and it sounds very daunting to be in a position where you solve complex business problems, as you put it. So our audience is students, and they may be wondering, heck, how can I get myself into a place where I could be sufficiently trained and well educated to be able to go into somebody's business and help them solve a complex business problem. So what types of skills would you suggest that young people begin to start to assemble?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first step in a career like accounting or finance or even in mergers and acquisitions where I'm in, it's a very good balance, I think. And the reason I love the career so much, it requires a good balance between kind of institutional or school finance and accounting knowledge, those fundamentals. And I always like those fundamentals. I'm from a blue collar family of tool makers and plumbers and carpenters. So the backbone of accounting and finance is something that it's a trade, right? It really is. So for me, that was one part of it, to really understand that trade. And you can start early. I, in high school, took 2 accounting classes, and it was an amazing opportunity to not only learn a bit about accounting, but learn a bit more about financial statements and how you, in personal finances. And that was really important and was part of the interest. The other balance that's really required is, we'll call it street smarts. It's also called EQ, right? Emotional intelligence. And it really requires to be able to step into a boardroom and really be able to read people, read situations, understand how to navigate complex situations. So that street smarts or that emotional intelligence is also an important aspect. And you can do that. I mean, there's a lot of programs out there within high school, or other charitable organizations where you can get more involved in learning about emotional and social intelligence. I think it's really important.
Well, you bring up a very interesting point. So, whether it's something like accounting, where that's a very disciplined skill set, very highly reliant on math and computational skills, but then you introduce this other component of EQ and the ability really to read other people. This is a skill, Don, and I'm curious to get your opinion on this, that everybody needs to learn how to cultivate, no matter what type of career or position or aptitude you have. You almost can't go anywhere in life without understanding and having some degree of emotional intelligence.
I agree. And it's interesting. I'm wearing a pin of an organization that I'm involved with. It's called Gentleman's Retreat. And it's a new organization started up in Providence. And it's all about taking inner city kids and teaching them the importance of social and emotional intelligence through what Kenneth calls powerful first experiences. And I think that's really important, and I'll draw upon that. I grew up in North Providence, first generation to go to college. And I didn't know where to go. I remember having a conversation with my parents about where should I go to college, and my mom said, "Does it matter?" And I'm like, "Yes, sort of." What I was able to draw upon very early from that was in my career was travel and learning different cultures and learning and getting to meet different people in different states and different businesses in different countries. And that has really helped me. So it's similar to what Kenneth calls in his in Gentleman's Retreat about powerful first experiences. It's very important to embrace challenges, to get involved early on in high school with different opportunities and different organizations, and get an experience of getting into a boardroom, getting into a situation where you're uncomfortable a little bit, but experiencing those first experiences to really start to build that social and emotional intelligence so that when you get into college and after college, you can really draw upon those experiences.
Mhm. So, when you say social and emotional intelligence, you're really talking about how to relate as human beings to other human beings and
Yes.
understand how to work together and to collaborate and to be sensitive and to learn teamwork and all of those things. That's all part of the whole EQ bucket, right?
Yeah, to have empathy, to understand how others feel, to understand how others are motivated, which are different than your own motivations. To be able to experience and growing up in North Providence and not really experiencing a lot of different cultures and people and personalities and languages, it was very important. I was very fortunate early on in my career to travel all around the world and have these experiences. So I think it's very important for folks that are in high school to try to obtain those powerful first experiences, learn about different cultures, learn about different organizations, and get involved to really round yourself out in your ability to learn about different things in different cultures.
Well, speaking of powerful first experiences, tell us about your first job.
Yeah, so I've pretty much been a lifer with KPMG. So I have, over my career, I just celebrated my 25th anniversary in January with KPMG. So maybe I'll answer it a little bit differently in the sense that I've had many different roles and opportunities in KPMG. I've been in 4 or 5 different parts of the organization. I've also worked in about 6 different offices, and 3 of them outside of the US, in Italy, in Switzerland, and also in and my first role was in auditing or accounting. It was very much accounting focused. It was very much focused on historical, making sure historical numbers were accurate, in a very technical role, let's say. So that was my first role with KPMG, and I've had about 5 or 6 after that that I've experienced.
What about summer jobs or part-time jobs that you felt really gave you an amazing insight about how to be a team player?
Yeah, I mean, there's one common thread I would say through all my experiences with KPMG, the leadership roles that I've had, is building teams. To your point, that's a common thread throughout all of those roles, right? And I think it stems back to sports, to playing sports and building teams. And I've had some great coaches over my career, over my life, in the sports that I played, and great coaches in my professional career that taught me that team is the most important aspect of your success. So I think, going back to team and going back to that experiences is so important to your success in the future.
What advice would you give our students that are watching this about how to, really figure out what their passion is?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I didn't think accounting would be my passion, right? What my passion is people. I love people. I wake up every day, and I can guarantee a couple things. One is that there's going to be some challenge with our people. We're a people organization, right? And I go to bed every night knowing that I helped someone that day. And to me, that's the greatest feeling in the world. So that's my passion. So I'd say a couple things. One is, you have to look beyond the immediate role, and there's a lot of other aspects of what you think that you need to really embrace. So going into an accounting firm, you would think you need to be passionate about accounting, but it was really the people aspect that really empowered me and encourages me and really motivates me on a daily basis. So that would be one thing. The other thing I would say is really embrace being uncomfortable, and really don't fear failure. Really just embrace being, because that really means if you're uncomfortable, it means you're learning. And that learning means you're developing. And I think you find that passion as you develop and you learn in the future in different roles and opportunities. So those are the 2 things that I would say to come back to: is embrace being uncomfortable and really go out there and drive change and get more plugged in to find those passion where it might exist in that role and in that opportunity.
Well, it's interesting. You talked about, learning to be uncomfortable and leaving your comfort zone. And along the way, you never know what's going to, pop up. Many times, jobs or opportunities that we don't even know exist pop up on their own, and it could lead to a lifetime of career satisfaction, particularly now when there are so many jobs and professions out there that didn't even exist as recently as a couple of years ago. So what you're saying is, the foundational skill of being curious, always being desirous of learning and going out on a limb, and as you point out, being a little bit uncomfortable can really set the stage for discovery, which could lead to a long and distinguished career like you are describing at KPMG.
Absolutely. I can't imagine doing anything else. Just being in the people business and managing people is such a challenging but rewarding career. In consulting and what we do, our asset is our people, their brains and their knowledge. So absolutely, keep eyes wide open, embrace challenges, and really know that you're capable of doing amazing things if you're humble, if you're curious, and you embrace that challenge and those changes out in the world. You can really find your passion in places you didn't know existed.
Mhm. And if you find your passion in life, in a career, they say you'll never have to work a day in your life, right? Because it will be a labor of love, and it won't necessarily be work in the traditional definition, right?
Absolutely. And there's challenges in every role and every firm and every job. And there's always going to be things that you don't like. But when you find that passion of in something that you wake up and enjoy doing every day, it's fulfilling, it's enjoyable, and you can really make a difference in people's lives, which is really all I set out to do when I started working 25, 26 years ago, was help people, make a difference. And now being the OMP, being able to make a difference in our community, it's such an amazing opportunity, and an amazing chance for me to give back. And again, when I started 25 years ago, in accounting, very technical, you don't necessarily know about all these amazing things, and what's really going to drive you and really what your motivations are. So yeah, it's you really got to dig in and be disciplined, and you'll find passion. There's no doubt if you work hard.
We only have 1 minute left, Don, but I do want to leave you with this question very briefly. If you were to give some advice to your younger self today, what would it be?
There'd be a lot of advice for sure, which I give to my 3 teenage children that often from their parent don't necessarily want to hear it, but there's a lot of things I've learned, and while it's a great question, and I'll say a couple of things. I'm going to reiterate a couple of things. One is embrace being uncomfortable. For me, that was a challenge for a long time in my career. Embrace that uncomfortableness. Second, value every relationship that you make. They're so important, people, and you can really make a difference. And those relationships you build will absolutely have a positive impact to you in the future. And most importantly, I would say, is be yourself. Don't try to be something you're not. Really embrace who you are, and trust your judgment, because your judgment and is who you are. Your instincts are usually right, and you can live with them if you do the right thing. So absolutely be yourself, embrace yourself, and really try to be yourself on a daily basis.
Don Zambarano, the office managing partner at KPMG in Providence. He has spent his career with KPMG. He's traveled the world. He's been uncomfortable in many of his roles, and he is a leader without question in Rhode Island today. So thank you so much, Don, for your time, and we look forward to continuing our work with you. And thank you so much for taking some time to chat with our students today.
Thank you so much, Laurie. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day, everybody.